Look at me sounding like I know what I'm doing. My 6th time baking. Maybe 5th, I'm not sure. I lost count now. Hello again! It's another baking episode. I have no idea what's going on. Well, I do know what's going on. I have a lot of time on my hands, so I've decided to take on this challenge of baking, something that I refused to do most of my life until now. Well, today I would like to show you how I make cinnamon loaf. It's kind of like banana loaf or any kind of loaf except with cinnamon. I know, my theories and my visionary thoughts here are explosive. So let me tell you what you need, because I always write it down with baking now so that I don't screw up the measurements, because you have to measure all this stuff. 2 cups of flour, 1.5 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 egg, which we're gonna whip up, 1 cup of milk, which we're gonna add. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of cinnamon and 1/4 cup of applesauce. Now, I put all the dry ingredients in here already, but I saved some cinnamon and sugar that we're gonna use to kind of sprinkle throughout the loaf once we kind of get everything together. So I've got this beautiful bowl of a lot of white ingredient and a little bit of cinnamon. So I'm just gonna mix it up so that the sugar and the flour and the baking powder and the cinnamon kind of get all together. I kind of feel like 1 tablespoon of cinnamon doesn't look like a lot. And I really like cinnamon and I like that aroma and that flavor. So, I mean, feel free to add a 2nd tablespoon. I'm just gonna go with what's happening here right now, and we'll see how it turns out. I do like the excess that we can sprinkle over, so I think I'll be happy with that. Okay, so dry ingredient is ready. Now, last time I did this baking, I did the egg first and then the milk, and I was like, how the hell do I measure this? So instead, I'm gonna do the milk and measure it properly, and then whip the egg in. So we're gonna go 1 cup of milk. Boom, easy peasy, perfect pour. Let's crack that egg in here, mix it together. Now the problem is if I do this and I put a shell in there, it's a lot harder to find. However, I didn't. So let's whisk that egg, beat that in there, boom, boom, boom. Come on, Yoki, get all mixed up. And the only other ingredient is our applesauce, so we can put that right in there. So how about I pour this in, get all the little bubbles, whoop, and then we'll add the applesauce right away as well. Just a 1/4 cup of applesauce. I think this is kind of what will make it stay nice and moist as a loaf, as opposed to kind of like a fluffy bread. Okay, easy peasy. And now we're just gonna mix it until it becomes a bit of a doughy type mixture. Sort of doughy, but maybe a little more watery than doughy. Look at me sounding like I know what I'm doing. My 6th time baking. Maybe 5th, I'm not sure. I really like using these spatulas because you get all the little creases and nooks in your bowl, and nothing is left behind. I feel like I'm really getting the hang of this baking thing. Okay, so everything looks super mixed together, easy peasy. We need to preheat the oven to 350 degrees because this loaf is gonna go in there for 55 minutes when we are done with it. You want your loaf pan, cake pan, whatever you're using, and give it a nice little spray. You can also dust the pan with a little bit of extra flour if you want, just to help it not stick. But I like my pans, they're pretty good. I just put a little bit of the pan spray in there and we're good to go. So we are now going to add some of this mixture to the bottom of the pan. Let's do it. So I want to cover mostly the bottom, but not use all of this. because remember, we're keeping some of that cinnamon sugar because we're gonna kind of put it in through our loaf. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna sprinkle some in here. And then I'm gonna take a little skewer and just kind of move it around. It looks really pretty. Let me do a close-up of that. Okay, and then we're gonna do the same thing again. We're gonna do another layer. So I'm just gonna try to kind of evenly spread it out here. Oop, lost a little bit of batter, that's okay. Okay, I'm just gonna, whoops, I'm gonna move that out of the way. I'm gonna shimmy shake it a bit, and I'm gonna do another sprinkle of cinnamon sugar. Maybe a little more over here. And same thing, I'm just gonna swirl it in a bit. It kind of makes it, I guess, evenly spread, but then you also get these little swirls of cinnamon in your bites. And that's always fun. Because I know making cinnamon rolls takes a little bit of different type of effort and different type of cooking, or baking I should say, but this way you can have that flavor of a cinnamon bun in a loaf form. And what's wrong with that? A whole lot of nothing, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm gonna do that one more time. Let me just spread this out, add the last of my cinnamon, and then we can add our final layer. And now I just have to wait for the oven to preheat. Like I said, 350 degrees, 55 minutes. That was really easy, wasn't it? I kind of feel like I'm really getting into this baking thing. And then as soon as it comes out, we're gonna let it cool a little bit. Hopefully get it out of the pan somehow. I'll think about that while it's baking. And then cut into it and eat it, because that's the best part of cooking and baking. It smells so lovely. I love cinnamon. It's gonna smell so good baking. I gotta tell you, this loaf smells amazing. Cinnamon, sugar. And the best part is I get to eat this loaf and share it. I do need to let it to cool down, so I am gonna just let it cool, and then I'm gonna cut into these beautiful slices and have a bite, and I'll probably melt some salted butter on it too. Thank you so much for tuning in to another baking episode of The Silly Kitchen. I don't know how many more of these there will be, but hopefully some more if this keeps going well. Thank you again. Please hit that subscribe button if you'd love to support my channel and see other recipes and ideas that you can use in your household. They're always easy, and I always try to have fun in the kitchen. Thank you again. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.